out of the box or out of the wall, whatever you want to call it, we have, oh, wrong way, the Mondo edition of A Quiet Place. It's 4K, even though it says Mondo edition, does nothing separate. It's just a separate steelbook. But anyway, we're going to go back into The Quiet Place and see what day 89 was. And I want to say day 474 because we're about to visit day 1 Thursday night. So, let's see if this movie holds up. Chase Lehocky here at the Blue Futon reviewing A Quiet Place. Not part 1, just A Quiet Place, because John Krasinski even said there was no plans on making this a franchise, but since I think the first movie did like 50 million first weekend, and then after that did like 350-esque worldwide in 2018, and so of course Paramount was like, we kind of got a hit on our hands, because it was a very easy budget movie to make our low budget, and we made bonkers money. So, pretty simple premise. You have these monsters who can't see, but their hearing is just off the freaking chain. And if you make any sound, they will hear you. So, you gotta be very, very quiet. And, the family. We got a centralized family, and something horrible happens in the beginning. And you've already seen this movie. It's a quick hour and a half. Great atmospheric horror movie where it's actually good thrills. And I think they do a lot with the story that really enhances it. I want to say it's written by 3 people. John Krasinski came in after the fact because I think Mr. Beck and someone else had this idea, was shopping it around, and John Krasinski read it and like, ooh, I like this. And he said, no, I want to help write it, like fix some things. I want to direct it. And then Emily Blunt was like, oh yeah, we could do this. And then she read it on a plane and she says, wait a minute, I got to do this part. Because I want to say it was 67 pages of, a script of 67 pages, which is about an hour TV show. And I want to say this script only had 2 to 3 pages of actual dialogue. So think about that. It's kind of crazy that it went that way. So I really want to talk about the sound design before I talk about anything else. So it's kind of funny because Dolby Atmos is a Dolby Atmos movie, and Vision as well, so it looked good. It sounded great. And I think it's kind of funny because when it is quiet, you're just thinking, what am I actually listening to? Where's the Dolby Atmos? But then when it hits like a fucking hurricane. And it's freaking bonkers. So it's really, really good. I'd say the weakest part of the movie is probably the CGI, which makes sense because they try to do these like close up to the ear canals of these monsters, which the monster designs are pretty damn sweet. But you can tell that's where the budget kind of faltered, is having these creature designs, which is fine. But in 4K, it is very noticeable of the 3D effects. But I don't know what else. I mean, the Alex and the atmosphere is great. John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, the 2 main kid actors, Noah Jupe, as well as, they actually don't say it in this one. Maybe I gotta look at part 2. Her name is, what is her name? Is it, Millicent Simmonds? Is that her name? Yeah, Millicent Simmonds. So she's the one that's actually deaf in real life. And so they, the actors also learn sign language to communicate with her as well. No, this movie, the atmosphere, I'm going to say it again, is fantastic. The look of the movie is great. It's all outdoor. They all built it on this farmland, and it's really awesome. There are some character decisions, though, where it's like, kids, stop being kids, just listen to your parents. You're trying to survive. I know something happens in the beginning where it's a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. It's pretty damn brutal. I understand that. And also, it's more of like, would you want to bring a kid into this world? Because that's the whole plot point, is Emily Blunt is pregnant, and we're going to figure out how to keep this kid safe, because kids, all they do is cry, and you just think, how is that possible? Also, I kind of like the writing of, it's been 474 days or whatever, and it's just interesting that no one thought about how to defeat the monsters. Like, you would think sound versus sound, high-pitched noise would be something that someone would have thought of before. Maybe they did, but they just don't show it in this movie because it's very niche into this small town. Or not even a town, more of a farm town. The town is more of Quiet Place Part 2. But seriously, after watching this one, I actually haven't seen Quiet Place Part 2, so I'll be watching that. It was during, 2021? So it was during that weird... Oh, yeah, no, 2021. Yeah, I was in a different country for a long time, so I couldn't have watched this movie in the first place because where I was at, there was no movie theaters. So that's where I'm going to hop into part 2 before watching day 1. So overall, Quiet Place, it holds up still after this time since 2018. The acting is great, the atmosphere is great, and the overall concept really does work. So A Quiet Place will receive a 4.5 out of 5 Futons, which equals that 90%. So see the critics' news scores gave this one. So you have critics a 96%, holy poop, with 385 of them. Audience score 83% with over 25,000. Critic consensus. A Quiet Place artfully plays on elemental fears with a ruthlessly intelligent creature feature that as original as it is scary and establishes director John Krasinski as a rising talent. So I think he's done 3 movies now, this, part 2, and If. And I think they're all pretty damn winners in my opinion. So anyway, 96, 83, 90. Chase Lock here at the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. On all things Bhutontopia. You Blue Futonians, think watch. Have a great day. And I'll give out to Tate tomorrow, week from now, month, or a year from now, every single freaking one of you. And you know what the next review is going to be. Let's be honest.